When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. Luke chapter 9, verse 51. It was coming to the climax of Jesus' public ministry. He knew what it meant for him to enter this mecca of religious activity. He would experience betrayal, denial, abandonment, humiliation, torture, injustice, and ultimately crucifixion, all because of love, all because of obedience to the mission for which he was sent. And so this week is set aside as Holy Week, a week during which we reflect on the most significant events of that first Holy Week. One of the events we remember is Maundy Thursday, the evening when Jesus invited his disciples to share the Passover meal with him. As Jesus took the bread and the wine from the traditional Passover meal, the disciples would sit in bewilderment as Jesus calmly said, "This is my body given for you, and this is my blood shed for you." A special meal was being transformed into a supernatural meal, a meal where we as participants receive the body and blood of Christ for the forgiveness of our sins. Jesus would go from that meal with his disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he would agonize in prayer over the current followers in that day, as well as the followers down through the history of the church, including the followers in our day. He would also agonize in prayer over the mission for which he had been sent. His mission was to die and to bear the sins of the world. He asked if there was another way, but it was clear that there was, in fact, only one option. And so he would suffer as he stood trial before the religious leaders like Ananias and the political leaders like Pilate and Herod. He would endure the rejection of those he came to serve as they asked for the release of Barabbas and shouted, "Crucify him, crucify him," when they were asked what to do with Jesus. We celebrate Good Friday. It was good not because of the torture and suffering that Christ endured, but because of his death. He paid the penalty for our sins. And so we gather for the Tenebrae service, the service of darkness, because of the darkness that covered the land when Christ was crucified. We acknowledge the darkness of Friday, but Sunday is a-comin'. On Easter morning, we gather to celebrate the good news that the grave couldn't hold him. Death itself couldn't hold him. The resurrection makes all the difference in the world. The promises of Jesus are dependable. Our sins have been paid for. Sin, death, and the devil have been defeated. Jesus has delivered what he has promised: forgiveness, new life, and everlasting life. As we gather for the Easter celebration, we look forward to the jubilant proclamation, "Christ is risen. He is risen indeed." There's no better news than the climax of Holy Week brings in the Easter celebration. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Press on in the Lord.